A car accident can happen so quickly, yet the final seconds may seem to be in slow motion as the car and its passengers jolt upon contact. Such an accident can cause serious injuries and damage, and when the car wreck involves power lines, there's an added danger. Knowing what actions to take to stay safe can make the difference between life and death. After a car wreck, it's natural for people to want to get out of the car to assess the damage to themselves as well as the vehicle. When the wreck involves power lines, that is the exact wrong thing to do.
If you find yourself in an accident involving a down power line, it's very important that you remain in the vehicle until you're instructed to exit by the appropriate personnel.
That's the first thing we tell people when they talk about, what if I'm in a wreck that has power lines on the car or beside the car or just around the car. Stay in the vehicle. And the reason we tell them to do that is because you're not going to know whether that's energized or not. In that situation, it's safer to stay in the vehicle, because if that line's laying on top of the car, you're insulated from that. You're at the same potential as the vehicle.
If you're involved in an electrical wreck of any type and you have electricity flowing through your car, you're not grounded at that point in time. And as soon as you take your foot and place it on your vehicle and the ground itself, then you're grounding out and you're changing the voltage pattern, which is when electrocution would occur.
Once you step out of that vehicle, and if you make contact with the vehicle and the ground at the same time, you then give it a path to flow through your body. That's when people get hurt. It's just always safer to stay in the vehicle. You know, you're sitting in a vehicle safe, and then once you get out of the vehicle, that electricity could be flowing through the ground. Also, step potential. Everybody explains that in different ways, but the one that's kind of stuck with me is throwing a rock out in the middle of a pond, and you see the ripples going away from where that rock went and landed in the water. And that's kind of how, if there's an energized line laying on the vehicle or on the ground and it's still energized, that's kind of how they show those rings floating away from where it's making contact. And what you get into is, if you're walking across that and you step in two different rings, one foot is at one potential and the other foot's at a different one. That gives it a path to go through.
The only time that you would consider exiting the vehicle is if the vehicle was on fire. It's important that you exit the vehicle utilizing the bunny hop or a shuffle walk.
You're going to hop out of the vehicle with both feet, making certain that you're not making contact with the vehicle and the ground at the same time. You're going to jump out of the vehicle, both feet, and then you're either going to shuffle your feet together, walking away, or hop like a bunny hop, both feet together. If you do come upon a down power line, whether it be from a storm, another vehicle accident, just something that when you cross the path of a down power line, we just tell them turn around, stay, don't drive across it. That's the first thing you got to remember. Just stay calm, stay in place.
It's important that you don't drive over the power line. Stay away from the area and call 911.
Every time I get asked that question, I think of, when they're talking about flood, those saying turn around, don't drown. I think about that when they talk about electric lines being across the road. Turn around, stop, turn around. But we, kind of want to go one step further. You may be the first one to drive up on it, and you definitely don't want to leave it there for somebody else.
Just back up and call 911, describe where it is, your location, and wait from there.
If you're involved in an accident and people come to assist you, it's important that you also tell them to stay away until emergency crews arrive.
Even when emergency responders show up, they're not going to do anything until the electric company is involved, and then when the electric company gives all clear, that's when the emergency responders will help out. Power lines are never considered dead until the electric company tells us they're dead. We always consider them live at all points in time until it's a known fact from the electric company that has shut it off.
It's important that you remind people in the area to stay away from down power lines. Just because a power line isn't sparking doesn't necessarily mean that it's not energized.
I've talked to guys every day that say, hey, this line was on the ground, but it's still hot. You've always got to treat that like it's energized. Any kind of electrical line you see, you treat it as it's energized.